All right. Hello, hello. Okay. All right. Awesome. We are live. Hi, everyone. Just give it a moment to see who is able to join today. How is everyone doing? Happy Thursday. It was feeling very wintry here in Calgary yesterday morning. We had some freezing rain and snow the evening before that. So, hi, Christy. So it's nice to see the sun shining and the streets are all clear of ice and dry. It is a beautiful sunny day, isn't it? I don't know what the temperature's like though, but I don't think it's too bad. I haven't been outside yet. I know if I'm honest, some days I don't go outside. One of my children would be horrified by that. It just depends what I have on the go. I'll pop out and grab the mail later. Okay, oh good, I'm glad I'm not the only one. All right. So, any card makers out there? Has your Christmas card making begun in earnest? I have to admit, I've done a few over the course of the year, but I probably need to sit down and go through my Christmas list and see how many I need to get done, how many extras, because I haven't done that yet. But we are going to be taking a close-up look at this fabulous product from Tailored Expressions. It's the Create in Quads layering stencil. And this one in particular is called Mistletoe. So I'm just going to give you a quick little walkthrough of how these stencils work. So basically we're going to start with an 8 by 10 sheet of paper and stencil these layers. You can see the stencils themselves are large. They're full size. I believe just a little larger than 8 by 10. And what we're going to end up with once we are finished with the stenciling is one full panel or one full sheet of paper that's got our stenciled image on it that we then cut into 4 A2 card fronts. So I'll show you a few samples after we walk through the stencil and how easy it is to use. And this particular suite, I'm going to call it, suite of the Create in Quads, also has I think I showed you guys this maybe last week or the week before. It's got the foil-it mistletoe sheets. So these are printed with the toner ink. After you do all your adding your color with the stencils and you cut these down, then you can add foil. And then all these black areas will be foiled. And so with that, you'd use a Mink machine if you have one. If you've got the Gina K Fuse, that machine works with this, or a laminator. So that comes with that. And then there is also, which I haven't used yet, a die that you can purchase as well. With this, I'll just show you what the die looks like. So it will cut out this image here. I'll show you once we get all the stenciling done which ones it'll cut out. That's probably easier than trying to describe it from the stencil. Okay, so let's get started. Now when you open up this package, it comes with 4 stencils. And just in the bottom right here, they're etched with the number of how you're going to layer these. So you're going to start with stencil number 1. And then they're, 2, 3, 4, etc. And that's how you're going to layer them. So I'm just going to put those aside. And I need to put them aside where I'll remember, where I can see them. Otherwise, I'm going to forget and I won't be able to find them. So you're going to just layer your stencil right over top of your paper, and I'll use a little bit of low tack tape to just hold that in place. That's the first thing I'm going to do, and then the second thing I'm going to do as well, I'll just show you once I get this tape in place. On these stencils, we've got these little square cutouts. I'm just going to grab my pencil here, or you can use a pen, doesn't matter which, because these will all be trimmed off, and I'm just going to fill within that. So every time we remove the stencil and go to add the next layer, we're going to make sure that all our little squares here line up. So that lets us know that we've got the stencil in the correct spot, so that our images are going to line up. Now, one thing, if you do decide to invest in this guy, just beware that there's a few little kind of extra fine areas that are cut out, so you just want to be mindful of that when you're inking. So I thought it might be fun to use kind of some non-traditional Christmas colors, or sorry, colors for Christmas. So we're going to use picked raspberry and cracked pistachio distress ink. I haven't used my distress inks in a long time. You could use your oxides if you've got the oxides. That would be they blend so nicely. That would be a great color combination as well, or a good choice of ink. But I'm going to go with these guys just because they'll dry quickly, because the oxides might take a little bit longer to dry, and I don't want to kind of mess around with a heat tool today. So I'm just going to start in this top left, and I'm just making sure that I'm being gentle where those smaller little cutout areas are. You'll feel them with your ink blending tool. Or you can use your blending brushes, but we're going to go over with that. And then we'll hit this one. And I can already tell I've messed this up, because these are actually leaves and stems that I wanted to do green, but now I've made them pink. So bearing that in mind, I'm just going to grab another piece of paper here real quick and just swap this around. So these are all the foliage, and I want them to actually be green, not pink. So I'm going to just put that aside and wipe off my stencil here really quick. And I use, let me just put the lid on that, rubbing alcohol to clean these guys off. I find that cleans off really well, and it dries fast too. I got some pink on my tabletop here, so we're just switch that up. You just pretend you didn't see that. Pretend Rosie didn't mess up her colors. Just want to make sure I get all the pink off, otherwise my leaves will be pink. And I'm going to grab my paper towel. Where'd my paper towel go? Right behind me. This might be a little easier. It's not going to catch on all the little pieces. Okay. This will be take 2. It's live crafting, people. Hi, Cynthia. Hello, Jenny. Okay, so don't make too much fun of me. We'll make these leaves the right color. The right color for me, for what I'm feeling. I know I could leave them pink, but I'm not going to. Okay, take 2. So just pretend you didn't see that. I'm going to do the same thing, add a little bit of low tack tape. Just in areas that won't interrupt my stenciling, and then we're going to just fill in our little, I'm going to call these registration marks. So when we fill in our squares, it just helps us remember where or ensure that our stencil is lined up. Okay, take 2. Let's try this again. All right, so I'm using cracked pistachio. Okay. There we go. That's more like it. Okay, so the nice thing with these, you're getting kind of 4 panels all done at once, and each of them are a little bit different, rather than if you had just like the full-size stencil that maybe would have the same pattern. Let's say it was all this, which is beautiful in itself, but it's nice that they give you a variety here of stenciled images, so that you've got, once you cut these down, you've got different designs. All right, so I think if any of you have done the Crop and Create events, they've used these stencils as well, the Create and Quads. Not this particular one. I don't know what the last one, I think the last one I did was, actually, I was supposed to do the one in September, but I was at Scrapaganza and didn't quite get there. So I do have a box of stuff, of projects to work on, but I have been highly unmotivated. I've kind of been playing with this stuff. Okay, so you can see how quickly this comes together. So I think this is one of those products that are just super smart. We've got efficiency with style as well. And while this is a Christmassy theme, you can use it for other things as well. I'll show you that in one of the samples. Okay, I think my ink pad's a little dry. I don't know the last time I've actually had this out. Okay. So that is layer 1, so stencil 1. So I'm just gonna set that aside. We'll clean that later, and I'm gonna line up stencil 2. So I'm just gonna make sure everything's within the squares that we marked, and that looks good. I'll hold it down there, and I'm going to use a second color, and this time I'm going to use Evergreen Bough, because this layer is going to add a little bit more color. I think I'll just use the same blending tool. I've got like a detail one to add some detail, but that might take a little longer to do with those smaller brushes. But if you wanted to come in with a third color even to add a little bit more kind of shadow near the base of the leaves, you could do that with a small blending tool. Or on this layer, you could even go over it with paste. That would be really pretty too. You just have to give it time to dry before you did your additional layers. So when you're making Christmas cards, if you make Christmas cards, or even when you're scrapbooking Christmas, do you kind of have a go-to color palette, or do you like to experiment with different colors, i.e. you're not necessarily married to traditional, you know, red and green? Okay, so that is layer stencil 2. Okay, so you can see now we've got how pretty that is. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in number 3. And again, we'll just line that up in our squares. And this one, now we can bring in the pink. So the picked raspberry. Oh, I hope I grabbed the right tool. Yep. For a second, I thought I might have grabbed the green. I should put that aside so I don't accidentally pick it up, because that would be like me. Accidentally pick up the green and then make a yucky brown color that I wouldn't notice until I took it to my paper. Okay, so we're just going to go over that. Super easy. All right. Okay. I'm really enjoying myself with this. This is fun. And see, this would be great to do, you know, you could get for mass producing cards, just get, you know, you could work on multiple sheets at the same time. So just moving your stencil on to the next sheet. Okay, and now this is the fourth one. And again, I'm just lining up my squares here. There we go. And now I'm going to use candied apple, because this is going to add that little bit of shading, I'll call it. Okay, there we go. All right. And for this one, I think I'll use a smaller ink blending tool. I'll use this brush just because these areas are quite small. Then I can make sure I'm kind of being a little more efficient with my ink, rather than ink blending it all over this, covering the whole stencil. Okay, I'm just going to make sure that's dark enough, so I'm just going to lift that up to take a quick peek, and we can make that a little darker. I can be a little more generous with the ink. All right, so this would be a nice layer on these berries here if you wanted to come in with like a, if you had like a sparkle red paste or your Astro paste, that would be really pretty to do on this layer. And then just set it aside to dry if you want to add a little extra sparkle to it. Okay. So we're just getting all those little berries. And I think I'm going to swap back to blending foam, just because there's a lot more on this section. There we go. So I usually wash my blending foams and just reuse them until they basically won't stick to the, where the Velcro doesn't stick anymore, and that's when I change them. Oh, look, I made that shift a little. Bad, Rosie. Okay, there we go. All right. I'm just working my way around here. It's ink blending, not much to say about it. What's your favorite inks to ink blend with? I do really love the oxides to ink blend with. It's so smooth and they just blend together really nicely. especially if you're doing backgrounds. I love doing, like with Christmas cards, doing like nighttime, night sky, winter backgrounds. Those are really, really fun to do with. You can do them with distress too, but I really like them with the distress oxide, just because it blends so easily. And I can tell that I haven't used my distress inks in a really long time. The ink pads feel kind of dry. All right. So there is, so it's subtle, but there is what you're left with after stenciling the 4 layers. Okay, so I've got a little ink on my fingers. I'm just gonna make sure I take it off so I don't get it on the cardstock. So now we can trim these down into A2 card panels, and then we'll take a look at how the stencil, or how the die works with these. So I'm just gonna grab my paper trimmer. Okay, and so I'm going to slide this in and kind of eyeball it at 5.5. So I'm just going to slide that a little bit over more. Okay. I feel like I might. Actually, this one should work right at 5.5. It should work perfectly. And I'm going to go one smidge over. Okay. Okay. And so now we can, what I'm going to do is just trim off my little registration marks there. Really quickly. And then I'll trim this right in half. So I'm going to kind of take it over to the 4 1/4 spot. It's going to be just a little smaller. I'm going to make it actually 4. Make it 4 by 5 1/4. So I'm going to trim it already too, as if I was matting it. Okay, same with this guy. I'm just going to trim a little bit more of the white off. Okay, and now we'll take this one, and I'm going to trim this one right at 4, just a little past 4 1/4. There we go. So with this one, I could erase that, or I can just trim it off. It depends how much of a matte I want on the card front. I like to give it a little bit of matting, so just try to leave a somewhat equal-ish strip of white around the edge. And then this one, I'm just going to erase that little pencil line there. There. Beautiful. So I might trim that down a little more. So these are, I'll just lay them out here. These are the 4 panels that you're left with once you've done all the stenciling. Okay. Now I'll just grab the die to show you what the die works with. So again, there's a coordinating die, and you can see this is actually 3 dies. And so one die is going to trim this guy here. So if you wanted to make this a focal point, pop this up. We can use this die for here. And then the second die, that kind of comes apart. It looks like this one is going, you're going to use it to trim. I kind of don't want to, well, maybe I should take these apart so you can see how they look, how they work. I'll just clip it. I'm just going to trim that little piece here so I can show you where these dies line up. If you're thinking this is something you would like to invest in, I could just see a lot of use with these. Okay. So let's see what this guy's going to work on, because I don't actually have, I think this one, oh, yay. So we've got one die that we're going to use. I'm going to lay them out on these cards so that you can see, okay? You'll be able to tell what they will work with. Which image. Okay. So we've got one of the dies works with our, I'll call it the bouquet image. Okay, it looks like one of them will work with this up and down side image. So if you wanted to, again, die cut this and maybe you're going to layer it over pop it up over an embossed panel, something like that. And then this die looks like we can use this guy on, I'm thinking on here. Let's see if we can figure this out. It's hard to tell. Oh, there we go. And then this guy will work right on here. So I'm assuming it's going to work on both sides. Okay. So that is how the die is going to work. So on your stenciled panel, then you're getting one full A2 card front. We're getting, again, one that's got this bouquet. You can die cut that out as well. Then we've got the die that will cut out this tall kind of standing on the side one if you want, and then this die is going to cut these guys out. Okay, so that's how the dies will work. But let's take a look, and then that's how the stencil works. But let's take a look at a few samples. You can kind of see how it all comes together at the end of the day. So here is, I'm just going to show you. I'm not sure what I did with the fourth with the fourth card. But here is this is where I've just inked the stencil. Okay, and what I've done is used kind of this blues and greens, and then this die from Paper Rose, and just turn this into a sympathy card. So just by changing the colors, obviously you come up with a completely different look. You could use this for birthdays, but this is this panel. I'll just show you. If I turned it that way, that's what this panel is. Okay. Then we have, and I'm going to show you what the foiled ones look like as well. Okay, we've got, this is the full, this would be this full A2 panel, and this is foiled with silver foil. It's kind of hard to tell from the camera, but we've got that one there, and then I've just cut a sentiment out of some 12 by 12 cardstock in the Paper Rose Fairy Tale Christmas line, and then just added some gems. Okay, so this is done with the foilets papers, and that is just to remind you. Okay, that is this, and in this pack you're getting two types of paper. I'm just going to pull them out here. I know I showed this on a live, but now that we've got, you know, finished cards to look at, it's much easier to see how it all comes together. Okay, so we've got two sheets in this, which will give you, okay, one sheet gives you exactly how we stenciled, you know, that whole sheet of paper that we did, just with the outlines in the toner inks. You can foil the outlines. Okay, so there's a card sample with that here, just to give you another idea. This is this piece right here. Okay, so we add the color with the stencils, and then in the foilets pack, there's also this sheet of paper, and so this one is just got a few of the leaves. Okay, and then with your stenciling in the stems. Okay, this one is this guy right here. So they've added a little border with a frame, so really nice to kind of finish that off there. And then the foil accents that we're adding, that's these guys right here. So this would be like your layer 2 would be this layer of the stencil. Let me just grab out. So on your second style of sheet in the foilets for this line, your foil pieces that you're foiling are this part in the leaves. So here where we add the darker ink, that's what you're getting, what you're able to foil in the foilet sheets is the second layer of that, and then a little frame. And then I've just added a sentiment. It's from Spellbinders. I forget the name of it. Hang on, I might have written it down. The Merry Sentiment Stamp and Die. Super easy. So that comes together super quick. And then here, just to show you, these are what some of the other images look like after you foiled them. Okay, so that in a nutshell is the Tailored Expressions Create in Quads Mistletoe layering stencil. And then again, we've got the foilet sheets that you can add to that. And I think in this package you get 5 pre-printed patterns. Yeah. No, that doesn't make sense. I think you're getting 2 sheets of each. So you're getting, let me just see, I need to tell you how many are in this package. Yeah, you're getting 2 sheets of each. So the foilets then will come with the four sheets of pre-printed patterns on there. So you're getting like enough to make 16 cards out of this one package. And that again coordinates with the stencil. And then as well, you can do the die. Okay, so that is what I have for you, lovely ladies, today. Thanks for popping in to hang out with me a little bit. I'm going to presume that many are going to catch this on the replay, so if you have any questions, just post it in the comments, and I'll check in on those to answer them for you. But yeah, I highly, highly recommend this product, especially if you like to mass produce cards. Super, super quick and simple. Yeah, to get those all done very fast. Okay, so thanks everyone for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Saturday, Thursday. I'm thinking ahead to Saturday. And yeah, and that you get to do some crafting. So have a fabulous day, everyone. Take care. Thanks for hanging out. Bye.